Hey, so how are you? My name's Anthony, and I have this blog channel called Between Two Mirrors. I don't know what the original purpose of it was, but it was just essentially videos of me sharing my life story. And if I had to say why, well, I guess people going through other or similar things, bad stuff, I just wanted them to know that they're not alone. From that point, I just wanted to see if I couldn't share some insights, offer something useful to people. Um, Fortunately, I have. And now, luckily for me, I have people DMing me sometimes. And I'm not, advice is a strong word, but they just want to strike a conversation, see if they can't get to some answers of stuff they're going through. So today I'm here because I want to discuss people that feel that they're at the point of no return. That's to say that the situation that they're in is bad, and whether it's not being able to find a reason to live, a reason to continue, a reason to fix what they're going through, it's just one of those individuals where no matter what I have to say or what I have to offer, it just doesn't seem to be enough. And it's cool. I'm not even a professional, right? So I just want to see if I can't put myself back in those shoes because I was in that position before. Um, we're talking about being at the point of no return. So just to give you a little background, I have this thing. I mean, I call it my demon resume, but what it really is just some of the worst things I've ever been through in my life. By my count, I have four, and there's just a lot of other shit in between. But for starters, when I was 12, I was sexually abused. And that's as far as I want to go with that story. So from there, the next big deal was what I've already shared, which is an addiction to crystal meth from age 16 to 18. And that had boiled down to my third item, which was a straight up legitimate suicide attempt. Mm. Now, my most recent one, so this is what, May 2020? I had a girlfriend of 4 years, and unfortunately, in December 2019, uh, she was murdered. So now that's like the fourth thing, and that would complete my little demon resume. So in between that, growing up, my dad was an alcoholic at the time, causing mass trouble. Seen him pull a gun out here and there. Uh, had an older brother. He's probably older than me by like 3 years. He used to beat the shit out of me, no reason. And then at one point, when my little brother was born, it's just like a matter of like to survive. He jumped in with my brother. He used to kick my ass. But I have nothing against those guys. I'm just telling the story. So also, when I was in, I believe it was like sixth grade, I had met a friend. His name's Fernando. And spent a lot of time with him. He was my best friend, at the time. Got to know him and his family. Great people. They took me in, took me to all these places, and unfortunately, he passed away when I was 21, I believe. So that sucked. He was my best friend for like 9 years. Also, in between this meth phase, this, you can't tell. It's just like all chicken scratches. So I'd cut myself like 200 times, right? What else is there? At the moment, that's all I can think about right now. So the point is that I have been through some things in my life that have driven me to the point where, yeah, life looks like it's meaningless, pointless. Life looks like nothing but hell, looks like shit. I mean, so going back to the point, which is, well, I mean, the question for me was like, how can I ever reach out to anybody that is going through such an extreme that they just can't see the light of day. They don't have the will to even try to make things better. So, all right, if I had to transport myself to a time in which I felt that way, that was surely like crystal meth days. At that point, yeah, I was trying to give myself a reason to die. First of all, I had told myself that family is pointless, useless, they're the enemy, fuck them all. I didn't give a shit about them. I'm not saying that I hated every single member, I'm just saying, I had a gripe with a few of them, so that idea was out the window. At that time, yeah, I had some friends, but at the same time, I didn't really confide my issues with them. So, friends and stuff like that was not an option either when I was at the lowest point of my life. So, shit, and there wasn't no social media either, no cell phone. I'm trying to paint this picture that whether or not it was true, I felt like I was very alone. Super, super alone. And in the way that people have been brave enough to try to approach me, or anyone else that decides to confide in somebody, at that point in my life, fuck no, that wasn't on my mind. I mean, obviously, so it's like, dude, with your family, you feel like if you open up, there might be a consequence because whether or not you've partaken in illegal behavior, illegal drugs, you just do stuff that you feel they may judge you for. And with friends, it's almost like, I mean, at a young age, I don't give a fuck what they have to say. They're young too. I'm not sure that they were equipped to help, right? So the big question is then, if I was so alone, how did I get out of the position that I was in? I do want to say on a side note that what had happened was, I feel like I had blinded myself. And regardless of all the good stuff that was going on in my life, what I did was I had put this like veil over my eyes. And if it wasn't that, I had encircled my mind and my world with nothing but negativity. So I can imagine, like, how the fuck could there be hope or an answer or a cure if everything you're seeing is just pitch black, darkness, suicide, pain, sadness, all that, injustice. For starters, I guess one thing I did was, I'm not saying that I took responsibility at the time, but I had to admit that there were things that I did like still in this life, whether it was something as shady as porn, candy, little things like pizza. Like, there are things that made me happy. Well, one of the most effective ones was rock music for sure. So I just had to grab at what I could to try to pull myself out little by little. So beyond anything of reaching out, the truth is, like, when it was all said and done, like, one starting point was like, fuck no, I didn't like the position I was in, crying every day. I didn't want to be there. So even what I would say is that, people that are reaching out, like, that is a sign of hope in itself. Like, when people tell me, I don't like this feeling, I don't like feeling like this, I don't like that my life is like this, well, there is a place to start, I would say. And it's just simply an acknowledgement that you don't even like the position you're in. So if you feel, for the person that feels that there's no answers and no hope, well, you yourself have already started that journey. If you feel like that life is meaningless and so on and so forth, maybe the things that you are telling yourself that may get you out of the situation, they're really not healthy either. So again, I'll go ahead and lean back on porn, drugs, just stuff like that. There's a lot of self-destructive options that can offer you temporary relief and temporary happiness. The problem with that is, it's not lasting. So when that shit goes away, who knows, you might even be even lower than you were before. So piece of advice is maybe reconsider what you feel will fulfill you. I had a discussion with somebody recently, and I had posed this question to him also. He's just saying that, like, that we are born with a hole in our hearts, or that, we're born into an imperfect world. So, yeah, of course, this all looks meaningless and pointless because, well, really, there's really nothing to reach for that is satisfying. So, yeah, it's like you have this hole, and what you're doing is you're trying to fill it, but essentially what you're doing is you're making that hole deeper and deeper, or bigger and bigger, either way. Alright, so one of the things that I've learned recently was to try to tell somebody to reach for meaning and purpose. If nothing else makes sense, if you don't feel like doing nothing, what they were saying, or the suggestion is that if you just find something that you care about enough, then you'll have a reason. You'll have a reason to change your life. You'll have a reason to get out of the situation you're in. You'll have a reason to make things different. So, but then, you know what happens when these individuals tell me, like, oh, no, 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 no. I don't have any motivation. I don't care about anything enough, I don't have dreams or some sort of career path and stuff like that. So then I get stuck again because you have no meaning. You have no purpose. That's fine. I accept that. So what I would say next is, well, these events, these life events, these situations, and I'm not trying to downplay any of them, but I'm just saying that, like, they don't last forever. So my point is, the literal thing that has happened to you, it's just like anything else in life. It was a passing moment. So what I feel now is a big mistake is that when you decide that you're going to carry the pain and you're going to carry this feeling on with you, what you're doing is you're making a temporal moment permanent. And not only is that, like, unhealthy, it seems so unnatural now to me, now that I've gained some wisdom. It's like, no, 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 no. I mean, I do obviously have a connection to the past, but not to the point where it'll fuck my vibe up. Certain things are just not meant to be carried on into the future or the present moment, mind you. So if the thing is that you can't find meaning or purpose, why don't you ask yourself why? Why are you choosing to keep this bad feeling, whether it was pain, sadness, trauma? I don't think that it was meant to last forever. And I would even argue, whether or not I'm right or wrong, that you may be the reason why it's carried on for X amount of years, or months, or weeks. Anything past yesterday is too long, in my opinion. So, I guess there's a bit of responsibility if for these people that I would try to give advice to. So, no meaning, no purpose. Well, you got to take responsibility in the sense that you do have to let certain things go. And then from there, you got to look for something you care about. It would help. I believe that we all do have a purpose, and finding it is, it seems like pretty straightforward after all. So this is whatever your natural interests are. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to force anything. Whatever you naturally like, just gravitate towards it. And somewhere along that path, I think you will be able to find meaning and purpose. We all have a certain set of skills, something we have to offer. You can't convince me otherwise, so meaning and purpose. So moving on to letting go. I feel that it's unnatural to carry certain things on past the time that they happen, is because, first of all, some of the worst things that have ever happened to me involve somebody else. So what does that mean, besides me being a victim? It means that I didn't even want this situation to go down. I have, I'm not the reason for it. So letting go is pretty easy because it's like, okay, fine, fine. Someone else was evil and they did crazy shit to me. I don't like it. It's not a part of my beliefs or my morals or my foundation, so I don't need to carry it further into the future. And I don't need to do that because it's not something that I created anyway. And I mean, if we want to make it more obvious, like it's just unhealthy to carry pain and sadness into the future anyway. I can imagine that someone's telling me, yeah, you fucking idiot, it's not that easy. Well, I'm here to tell you I agree. Shit, I'm 33 and I've been fucked up as far back as 12 years old, you know? I've put in work. I've put in a lot of work. I've put in about 5 to 8 years at this point of work for self-improvement and so on and so forth. And again, when I first started this journey, I didn't have no one helping me. I didn't have social media. I didn't have YouTube. I didn't have all these badass resources. I didn't care about reading either at the time. So I promise that I get it. I really seriously get it. Anyway, letting go of the past. So we're talking about unresolved issues. I don't know how else to say this. It sounds fucked up because it's so simple, but the past wasn't meant to be. The past wasn't meant to last this long. Nothing's meant to last forever, to be honest. Like, what am I really doing? Am I trying to manipulate time? Do I think I'm God or something? Do I think that... Look. Concerning the past, what has happened has happened. And I'll admit, yeah, of course, if I could, I would change certain things. I really, really would. But the fact of the matter is we can't. All we can do is change the present moment. And honestly, that fact alone is enough for me to just drop the idea that I'm gonna go back into the past and get specific apologies from very specific people, you know, or go back in time to change what happened, or change what, like seek revenge, like do something else. Like, no, that's all bullshit to me. It's all an illusion. This idea in my head when I play out scenarios and I act differently and so on and so forth, it was not gonna play out any other way than it already did. So I just gotta let it go. I gotta accept it. And one of the best things that I can do with a fucked up past is literally just use it to become a better person. So that is to say, you go through the experience, you feel the certain feelings. Here's the key point right here. Based on that, you just make the necessary changes. And if it's something leaning towards positivity, then my God, all the more power to you. That's like the most magical thing you could possibly do. It's the best thing you can do, is turn a negative into a positive. And I guess that's it for now. I'm pretty sure I left a lot of stuff out, and for that I apologize, but yeah, thanks.